a self-portrait photograph that I created a couple days ago in my hometown of Huntington Beach. This is a close-up of the final image that I created. It is a Levitation photo. And these are some of the other pictures I took that day that I also use in the main image. This is a blank shot with nothing in it, which we're going to erase away from the stool using the blank shot. The first step is to use a lasso tool to copy and paste my left arm onto the main picture. Just because I like this left arm a little bit better, I'm holding the color palette, the painting palette, and I like that a lot better than holding a brush. Now I'm going to overlap the blank shot over the main image. And then I'm going to use my paintbrush tool with black on top to erase away from the blank shot. So now that we only have our main image showing through. And then I'm going to hit X on my keyboard to bring up white over black, and I'm going to paint the image back in only where the stool appears. And you can see where we're painting back in is a little bit brighter than the rest of the background. So after we paint in the stool, we're going to use curves and darken this photograph so that it blends in completely with the background. So now I have curves and I'm bringing the line down to darken that selection. You can see that's the before and after of darkening it. And that's the before and after of erasing the stool. And I'll zoom out so you can get a better perspective here. The next step is to crop the entire picture. So normally I like to crop into a square, so I'm cropping this picture into a square. And then I'm going to bring in several other pictures to fill in the spaces at the bottom and the top, the blank spaces. So I pointed my camera down to get a more shallow depth of field photograph of the grass, and I'm just adding in that photo at the bottom of the photograph to fill in the blank space. And now I'm at adobestock.com and I'm searching for a photo that has mountain and grass in it. I think this photo is going to work really well, so I paid $10 to use this photograph in my photo. And I'm just going to copy and paste this photograph onto the main image. Then stretch it out by transforming the photograph by hitting Command T on my Mac keyboard, then reduce the visibility of the photograph so I can see where to place it. Then I'm going to hit my layer mask on my keyboard and erase away from the photo where we don't want it to appear. Then hit X to bring up white paint over black paint to paint the photograph back in, to paint the layer back in. And right now I'm painting the layer back in at 100% on opacity and flow, which we will change in a little bit to better blend in the two pictures. I reduce the opacity of the picture of the hills so I can erase away with black on top where my easel and my canvas appear so that they can obviously show through in the picture. I have reduced the opacity of my brush to 50% and I have reduced the flow of my brush to 33% so that when I paint the image of the hills back in, it blends in a lot better with the grass. Now I'm going to go to my curves tool and go to the red channel and bring the line down to reduce the redness in the picture of the hills. So you can see the before and after of me doing that with the curves tool, and that makes a huge difference. And I'm just clicking the layer of the hills on and off so you can see how it looked like before. Now I'm going to duplicate a background copy layer, go to Filter, Liquify. And with the Liquify tool, you can distort certain areas of the picture, make it larger, kind of add little bumps in the hills in the background, make the hills a little bit larger, kind of make it look more mountainy like instead of hills. And I use a Liquify tool on my body as well to make myself slimmer, like my arms and stuff. And now I'm bringing on a different picture of my canvas so that I can make it a lot larger. So I took this from a different picture and now I just transformed this selection by hitting Command T, and I'm just stretching out the sides of the box to make the canvas larger. And once I've done that, I'm going to place my canvas where I want it to appear, mess around with the points, and I'm using the skew tool at the moment. And the skew tool kind of allows you to distort your selection, and as you pull the points of the box in different directions, it kind of changes the way your selection appears. And you can see that's the before and after of me using the skew tool. And now I'm using curves just to darken the sky a little bit so you can see the details of the clouds and the beautiful natural blues in the background. And the next step, once the composite is completely done, the next thing I do is bring my image into VSCO, VSCO in Lightroom, and I edit some of the colors. So this is the before and after of editing the colors. This is before Visco, this is after Visco. Before Visco, after Visco. I want to be painting myself in this photo. So what I'm gonna do is copy the entire picture, hit Control Copy, and then hit Control Paste, and then I have a new layer of this photograph, which I'm going to manipulate, rotate, and use a skew tool as I go to Transform, Skew, and I'm just going to distort the edges so that it matches up with the canvas, and I could easily place my picture over the canvas and brush it in and make it look like I'm painting myself. And now that I have my picture over my canvas where I want it, I'm going to create a layer mask, erase the picture completely, and then paint it back in as I see fit. The next step is to add some selective color adjustment layers, and that's the before and after of adding the selective color adjustment layers. I use it in every picture. It's just a great way to color your pictures. And I also added a lot of curve layers to give the picture a more reddish kind of feel, also some gradients. Now I'm going to add some Brooke shade and textures that I love. I usually use Brooke shade and textures in all of my pictures. So I'm just going to slap on this texture, which is from her colored texture packet, and I'm going to change the blending mode to soft light. And I'm going to reduce the opacity and fill of the texture so it doesn't show up completely, and you can just see how that texture just adds this beautiful pinkish hue to the entire overall picture. And there you have is the final result. I'm really sorry for not uploading a tutorial in a month. I promise I will be better. I'm also starting a 52-week project on my Instagram account at Mandy Rosen Arts if you would like to follow my 52-week project. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys for the next one.